Hello, everybody. Hello. Might get a little incepty for a second. I just want to make sure I hear everything. Okay, we'll just mute that playback and everything should be good now. How's Greg and Gary? I see Greg and Gary here. Good evening. Welcome. The two glorious G's? Is that how it's gonna work? All right. So we're gonna take a look at the closed loop steppers from Big Tree Tech. The ones that we have here are the S42B version 2.0. Now there's a few different versions of these, and we are actually going to have like a full video, I guess, coming out on these, but kind of want to show a little bit. I'm going to get them in the printer probably, or at least close to in the printer as they can get. There's some firmware changes that we need to do, so again, there is a full-ish video coming out on them, but if you are curious as to what they look like and what they actually are, this is let's show you what they look like. Ta-da! So we're working with some with some camera angles that we've never worked with before, because I've never had to do this exact stuff on the desk. So yeah, Big Tree Tech. Let's see if we can show you. Yeah, there they are, S42B. And basically, you get the one that matches your stepper motor on your printer. So the first thing you actually do get is just a bag. And in that bag is the actual stepper. So this is kind of what it looks like. So you do have a few connections, and one of the connections goes to your stepper drivers, and then the other connection goes back to your controller, and you actually pop out a stepper driver and plug this in its place. Let's see here if we can get the camera to actually, I don't know, that's asking a lot for a zoom in there, but focus. You can do it. There it is. Look at that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. You can see that it has the 4 mounting holes, so you are going to mount this to the back of your stepper motor. Now, again, we do have a full video coming out on these particular steppers, but I'm going to zoom in visually here on this one just briefly. So let's transition back so you can watch me read over my glasses, folks. Yep. So when you configure these in your firmware, you're going to configure them as 2209. However, I do believe they're a silent step stick from, I can almost read it, A4950T is the actual. See, I told you I could do it. If anybody doubted, my eyesight's super good. So these steppers are silent, so you don't have to worry about trading off silent printing for step sticks or the closed loop steppers, I should say. They're still going to offer silent printing. And then I am going to read over my glasses again here. See if I can get that light just right. It is an STM something. One sec, we can do this. STM32F103C. So again, just so I'm reading these things off for you, we have the steppers, and then the STM is actually the controller. So this board actually has a controller on it, microcomputer controller. So it has its own firmware. You get to update it and all those fun things. So that is we'll get back to the view that we've never used before, but this is piece 1. So this is the most important piece probably. If you do get the kit that is for the ender, they send you a new wheel so that you can actually turn the leveling knob, which is important. And then in this bag, so you get a lot of static bags, and I don't know about you, but I sure use them a lot. So here is the this is the stepper driver module that you will plug into your stepper driver board. So you can see it has your regular stepper driver pins. It has a blue and it has a black side on it. Now when you plug these guys in, you should always, even if you get the same brand, on top you can see they're labeled there, 5V EN, direction, step. Look on your board, the trace will be there to tell you which way it plugs in. Now on the new boards, so the one Greg got, the SKR2, and I do believe on the new what is that board, the Octopi, I think is what they're calling it. Big Tree Tech does have that enabled, and Marlin does support the feature where if you plug the in backwards, nothing bad will happen now, but you have to get to Marlin 2.0.8. So there is another piece. Now here is another piece. So you can see that already there's probably a little bit more to these than your standard steppers. It's not just drop it into the board and then it's closed loop. So while I'm opening this bag, I just want to explain a thing. So right now our 3D printers are in what we call an open loop setup. And not just our 3D printers, lots of things in life are open loop. I'll just show you this too. So this is the control screen, and that's right, it does have its own control screen, and there's a ribbon on the bottom of the screen on the back. It just connects the pins to the board, and then there's the satisfying plastic film that you can take off after. But as I was saying, our printers are already what we would call open loop. So closed loop, what a closed loop system is one with feedback. So let's say right now, because I see Greg in chat, I don't know he's there. So here's an example. I say, hey Greg, how are you doing today? And I just assume that the answer is good. I don't get any feedback from him. All I know is that I sent the request, told and sent the command, and that's it. So that's an example of an open loop system. As far as I know, it worked. So you can kind of tell that open loop systems are while they are cheap and effective, sometimes that introduces issues. So the last thing you get is just a bag of screws. So you get a bag of screws to attach the actual board to your stepper. You get a jumper lead for your stepper to plug into the motor. So this will just plug in from here into your motor. And then this is the cable that actually goes back to your board now. So it plugs into this board. And you guessed it, it plugs into this red board here that fits it. And it will go back to this board. And what it does is this will enable the controller to send the normal commands that it would send to a 2209, and it'll take those commands and interpret them for this stepper. So if you're keeping score, you're going to actually be freeing up a 2209 or something with these, because these include the stepper driver mounted to the board. And there's one more bag. This is a bag of spacers and a magnet. So we'll put that down there too. So yeah, closed loop systems are more rare in the 3D printer realm of things, at least at our price points when we're talking hobby level under $1,000. But we can all actually benefit from closed loop in some way or another. Now, one of the ways I want to kind of like, I'm gonna get my hands off the table because that camera's shaking a bit, sorry, but I want to make it kind of clear as to what we're going to be doing here. So the steppers are going to go onto the X and to the Y axis on an Ender 3 right now, and I would highly recommend, if you're going to try this, to maybe keep that orientation. I think it's important to say as well that the closed loop stepper will not directly benefit your extruder. So when you're talking about extruders and closed loop steppers, if you are missing steps on your extruder, and that's really what a closed loop stepper does. So the closed loop stepper is able to say, you know what, I was told to go 10 millimeters on the X axis, and it feels like I'm going farther, so I need to get back into ordering it. And the closed loop stepper corrects the over or under adjustment that happened. Maybe it's because it got banged, maybe it's because your belts are a little sloppy. The closed loop stepper will help that. On the extruder, if you are exceeding your extruder's volumetric flow, or if you're just plain old trying to push filament too fast, or you're even skipping on your retractions, if your extruder tries to fix that, you will end up with more artifacts and trouble than it's worth trying to correct those with a closed loop stepper. So that's kind of a little preamble banter there. So we do have 2 of these kits. So I opened one, and I've got the other one open package on the table, and I should probably read the instructions, but hey, that's not how we roll. So we're gonna do it. I have opened the instructions if you wanted to, and we will show obviously a little bit more circuitry diagram when we get to the legitimate video. But let's see, I'll bring up the Big Tree Tech page so you can at least get a taste for what we're doing. And if Big Tree Tech does have a GitHub for a device, it is actually, they do a very good job, but the problem is they have to they have to actually qualify for that first statement, which means they have to actually have that device in a GitHub, and sometimes they just randomly don't, which is amazing. So I have the GitHub here, and I want to show you. I'm just going to make sure that my screen share is still what I think it is. It's this screen over here now. Okay, see, it's always good to check. I don't want it to be that screen. That's silly. I want it to be the other one. So we'll fix that. So anyway, the GitHub does give you good instructions on how to configure the firmware for your new stepper and the closed loop stepper specifically. So it'll tell you how to get it on there if you needed to update the firmware. Remember, the firmware that we deal with first and foremost is on the actual controller. So in this case, it's a Big Tree Tech SKR 1.3 that I'm using, and it's going to be that controller. So here is the GitHub for the Big Tree Tech S42B version 1. Now we have the version 2. Whoa. The biggest difference between the 1 and the 2 is the ICAM bus, and the screen is a little different, but in installation and other things, it's okay. So you can see that there's a few different setup instruction manuals. So it's telling you, you can buy, actually I should mention, you can buy this kit with or without the stepper motor. So if you needed a stepper motor, you can buy it. Hello Vince, welcome. Yeah, again for the second time today. So we're actually going to be very similar. We're only doing 2, and you can already tell that in the picture, the closed loop stepper that they have versus the one that we have. And I will hold it right up to the camera here, so it makes it big in the bottom corner. It's different. Theirs is green, so they must have had like a pre-production unit, I'm going to say. So, but as you can see, we have all the same parts, we have all the same stoppers, everything's the same, and it actually gives you pretty well a rundown of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And I actually already said most of this out loud. So the magnet is an interesting one. The magnet installation needs to be in the center of the motor shaft, because on the bottom of the stepper, it will actually pick up that magnet motion. So you do need to have it there. It's best to fix the magnet with glue in the center of the shaft. If you guys can read it, we're going to do all of that. Our goal today is to actually get everything together. I do have my super glue. I think I have it. Yep, it's right there. Good. So we can actually put a dot and throw it on there. The magnet has to stay on it, so it's important to get it on there. And then it has the gaskets and everything after the fact. So we're just gonna leisurely make our way through this. This is kind of what it should look like, approximately. So they're showing you that, yeah, you're using the plastic, washers that came with it to actually stand off the motor a bit and get that installation in there. So, and it's telling you which side's which. So you do actually, there's two different sizes of washers. There's a smaller one and a bigger one, I do believe, unless they're just stacking and stuck in this bag. One sec. Yeah, they're just stuck in the bag. So they're just expecting you to stack them until you get to 2.8 millimeters. So hopefully you brought calipers, which I'm pretty sure we did. The hotbed nut shall be replaced following. So again, if you actually install this on your ender, it's going to collide. The y-axis is going to collide with the original hotbed. So we have to make sure that that's not going to happen. So basically what we're going to start off doing is we'll actually start off by taking this, the Y motor, and we're going to install it. You can see that there's a screen. We showed that off too. I think the one thing that it's a silly thing, and I don't know, maybe you guys are the same way. I'm sentimental about my printers a bit in that, and maybe I'm crazy. Let me know if I'm crazy, guys. But I like to keep them as close to stock as possible, generally. Or at least not damage them. And this printer, I'm not saying this is going to damage them, but like I really hate when I do upgrades that are like non-upgrades. You know what I mean? It takes the joy out of it for me. So this is, however, I'm sure going to be great. You can see here that there's a bit of a picture of the motherboard. They don't show you too much there. Let's see if they show you some more at all. There's lots on the boards. Yeah, they kind of like skip over the... Huh, that's interesting. There's lots of information on the... Yeah, they could have done that better. There's lots of information on the connecting to the printer, but there's very little on connecting to the board. So they could have done that a bit better. But let me get my friend... Ender 3 up on the bench here, and then we'll see what we can do with an angle to make this the best thing we can do. So again, we're going to start with our y-axis and motor, and I'll probably actually take it off the frame, and then that'll make it a little easier to work with. And we will attach the closed loop stepper with the given hardware. So remember, it was asking for 2.8 millimeters, and I'm thinking that's going to be either one or two of these spacers. So I'll use my handy dandy tape measure just to eyeball it, because either it's going to say 3 or 2. I am soft. Am I louder now? Hello. Tell me if I am louder now. I think I'm louder now. I got a yes. Am I too loud? Does it offend you now? Just kidding. I don't think it'll offend you. Is it appropriate? Like it's not peaking or anything, Greg? Maybe it is, maybe no. Okay, good. So like I said, putting the keyboard down, and we're gonna get the ender up on the bench, and we're gonna at least do one motor here, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So camera angles, that's gonna be an interesting one, Greg. It's gonna be an interesting one, but we can do it. We can do it. Good for me. Awesome. Good, Gary. If at any point it's bad, just let me know. All right, since I'm the only one on and Greg isn't on Skype, I'm going to lose the headset too, because it is just going to be a hazard in a second. There we go. Much better. So, like I said, we're going to start and we're going to take the Y motor off. I do want to show you guys a few things. Basically, it's just modifications on my ender that might make it look a little different than yours. So, here we are. So the first thing that is a little different, I'll just move this up. There we go. So this is the back of my ender, and I have everything in this cage. So I moved all my components for the ender. I moved them back behind the printer to this cage, which actually is it's fairly accessible. You just have to take some screws off. So the first thing I want to do is take off the Y motor, I think. Trying to decide if I want to. Or if I do it just on the frame. I think I want to, though. I keep changing my mind. 1 second. I'm going to get you guys a good angle on this, and maybe we can do it with it on. Come with me, camera. Look at that. Up close and almost too personal with a Y motor. So the first thing that we're going to actually do is we just got to take off those 4 screws. So I just want to see if we can get it to focus. If not, I'm dropping pieces, y'all. Just let me manually focus this and then we'll be okay. Let's get a good picture. So how's everybody tonight? I know I asked before, but people seem to be talking. So how is everybody? I know Greg and I were taken back by some unfortunate news for us a couple hours ago. But you know, we push on. But yeah, there was lots of remembering texts going around and that kind of stuff. So. Let's see if we can focus. Oh yeah, look at that focus. Alright, so the camera is roughly in focus. So if I'm looking, it looks like those are gonna just be Phillips. That's the word I'm looking for. So let's see if we can get them out of there. Maybe. This might be harder this way, actually. You might have to bring in big guns or we're going to strip that. Uno momento. We're upgrading the screwdriver. We might have to change the angle a bit. Please hold. I'm stuck in Galveston, Texas since a week. My trailer broke. Oh no. Oh man, that sucks. Is there light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak? Is it getting fixed? Man, that's the worst. I am sorry to hear that. So I know there's nothing worse than standing still in your business, so I hope for a quick repair, friend. Alright, so I've upgraded the screwdriver a bit. Because those screws seem like they were fairly on there. Let's see what we can do now. So the just so I can show you, that is where the magnet needs to go and stay, and they suggest actually gluing the magnet to that center column there. So yeah, we might do that now too. Not on a weekend. Oh, that's true. If it's a weekend, it's okay. The world can stand still briefly. That is very true. So, so they're warning you that 2 of the gaskets are 1.4 millimeters, and their instructions here, folks, which is understandable and good. Yeah, so 2 of them, so they're saying stack 2 up and use their longer screws once you take these screws out. But yeah, so what we're gonna do first here, maybe, if I find the bags, that was silly. There we go. So this bag here, let me put it in focus. You can see it has the gaskets, but you can also tell by the way it sticks, it does have the magnet in there. See right there. So there's gaskets and magnets. So I just emptied that bag on top of the printer here for now. And I'm going to see which way this magnet sticks to the motor. That is also important. I'm going to need a device. This is the device I require. So I'm hoping that my nippers are good enough here. Wants to stick to the side more than the center. So if you guys don't know or haven't opened your stepper motors, your stepper motors are actually just magnets. So it makes putting this magnet on ever so difficult, and now it's not in the right spot. Thankfully it comes to the nippers before it comes to the casing. I might go with my original gut and take this off. Yep. Yep. Instead of struggling with it, we're just going to take it off. So put the magnet and stick it to the build plate, and we're just going to take this motor right off. So let's see what we can do here about this. There it goes. Gonna take this motor right out. Galveston, Texas. I have no idea where our one subscriber lives, but he is also from Texas. I doubt that he's anywhere near Galveston. Yeah, sorry about that. The wire is out of the view now. I fixed that wascally wire. So we're just gonna get the make a bunch of noise, but we'll get the Allen key out here. And so all I'm doing, y'all, is riveting as it is. I'm just taking the tension off the Y belt so that when I take the motor off, it doesn't like still have tension, and yeah. That'd be most annoying if it was tensioned on the gear. and I couldn't get the Allen or the hex nuts on the front here to turn. So I needed my Allen key. Red Deer. So you're coming right on up through Lethbridge then, Vince, eh? I'd imagine. I'd imagine. All right, so I was able to take off the tension on the belt. Let's see here. If I move my camera like this, and it doesn't fall over like that, that's really good. So I can actually pop the belt off the back of the motor now, and we'll just pop out the screws. So I'm gonna switch sides for y'all. Check out that thumb. Oh yeah, my other setup is way better for unbuilding. Unbuilding. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, this is not my go-to. This is an impromptu. Yep, maybe. I mean, not that Greg and I are free or anything, but you'll have to wave as you go on through. But go quickly because it's Lethbridge. Don't stop. You'll catch whatever it is we have. Alright, that's the right guy. Let's see if we can get this to turn out. Yay! So, if this is your first time, like me, taking off the Y motor, it's going to not want to come out. And the other thing I'm going to suggest is putting the screws far, far away from your work area, because these are just little itty bitty tiny screws that unfortunately you're going to lose if you knock them around. And they're not magnetic. Oh, see? Let's go rescue it. So they're not magnetic, which is a pain. I find that actually in lots of the 3D printers is the aluminum. Not a lot of it's magnetic. Makes sense, but yeah, once we get these screws off, we can get rid of the printer here, and we'll install the motor on this guy. I just realized I lack a clock in this room. Using my cell phone's here, but it died after valiantly texting coworkers for an hour. I picked up. Greg, are you here? Can you click show on that message? Thank you. Or phrase here. It just has to be an admin. It flagged the word skin. Alright, so motor comes off. That last screw is out. So the belt is still on the pulley, but it's, it's not attached to the gear anymore. Now I'm just trying to wrangle. Yes, it did it. Last screw. So those screws are going to a very safe place. And we will unplug this stepper motor. Like that. And then we're just left with that. And I'm going to reconfigure the camera so we can once again see that part there. So bear with me for a second. Usually I have several cameras. Actually, Greg was making fun of me earlier. I said, I need another camera. And he goes, 34 cameras aren't enough? No, I need more. They're like Pokemon. I just need more and more. So I did unplug the power cable as well, guys. So just so you're aware, the stepper motor is unplugged from power and just sitting on the desk. Let's see if we can angle this down now. Oh yeah. Look at that angle. Let's see where the focal point is. Not there. About there. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. So this is just the Creality motor. It has that pressure fitted gear on it. This throws a lot of people off because they're like, I need to replace my gear, but I don't know how to get it off. It's pressure fit. So there's a couple answers. There's some tools you can print on Thingiverse to pull that off, or if you get a couple of flathead screwdrivers, that'll come right off. So the first thing I want to do is try to get that magnet on there, and this is going to be easier now that it's not attached, I hope. And we are going to glue it there, but I am going to give this warning. Do not glue your stepper motor shaft. So we're going to put as little glue as we can on this magnet here. And then once we have as little glue as we can on the magnet, we're going to gently and precisely slide it in there. And so that's the current issue, is the precisely. But I do have a set of tweezers, so let's use those. You had a clog on which, Greg? On your on the one you did this afternoon? Okay, so it wasn't that way. Is it this way? This thing just slides around in there. I don't think it has a polar attraction to that center piece at all. You got the retraction on. Yeah, that'll do it, especially if you're going to like that genuine the genuine. Yeah, like this is. I'm just gonna see if they I can see why they say glue it, because it is not gonna stay there without glue. Like barely. Okay, so we need so this is the official tool of telling you the polar way that is up, a Sharpie and a dot. So you can see I got the magnet on there. I've got the dot to tell me which way it is, so now we're going to glue the magnet. No, it's totally not, and that's why they say glue it. Let me show you just while we're doing this. Here's the as my motor's flopping around. Here it is. Put the magnet here. The magnet is radial magnet 5mm. It is best to fix the magnet with glue in the center of the shaft. If you use liquid glue, just like I just said we're about to use, and I don't know, I guess you could use like two-sided 3M maybe, but it said make sure you it doesn't flow down the shaft. So that's, we're literally going to put a dot of glue on something and make sure it is just a dot, and then I'm going to like dot it onto that magnet. That's a lot of the words dot. But let's switch back here. So this is the glue. Yep, that's right, Gorilla. We're gonna do our best. I'm gonna let it flow a bit for a second before we do anything with that. We're going to retrieve the magnet now. It should be roughly easy, maybe. Man, I think these are magnetized too. Harmon. Oh. Okay. Let's go for bigger reinforcements. Jeez. I think, guys, this is going to be the hardest part of this whole thing, especially for me. If you were a normal person whose hands worked, that might be fine. But for me, this is going to be tricky. So I have to get this magnet into that hole without actually like wrecking stuff. I wonder if this is yeah, right. Nope, that's not gonna do it. I thought to myself, maybe this magnet is the right polar alignment, but no, it is not. We are gonna have to use something else, which is fine. We're gonna shim it with a toothpick. Yeah, that might actually happen. Like, this isn't terrible until it decides to. It really wants to be on the side of those shafts first before anything else. So we're gonna go bigger. We're upgrading our pincers here. Yeah, the only problem is the 5mm socket. It might stick to that. Maybe. I think I can do it with these though. It's just gonna be annoying, maybe. Okay, so first step is the glue. We have a business card and I have glue. So let's get some glue on the business card. And I'm actually going to apply the glue to the shaft. So there's the glue on the business card. Ta-da. And then we're going to do this with this tweezers maybe. Or should I use... Oh, I got a better thing. This way I don't have to ruin my tweezers. So I've got the world's littlest dot of glue, and we are applying the world's littlest dot of glue in there. And that actually looks pretty good. Like, do just a little bit more. So this is fast drying CA. It doesn't have an activator or anything like that, but it is fast drying. So I should have a second or two of working time. Let's see here. Is this gonna do it? Yep. Just don't know if that's gonna let it go or not. There we go. I'm just going to very carefully. You jerk. This is crazy. Put this magnet in here, but it won't go in there. And then if it does, it's never gonna stay there. Got it. Okay, so you have to be a magnet whisperer. Alright, but guys, check that out. Greg, look what I did. I did it. My numb hands got the magnet into the hole. I am super proud of myself right now. Super proud. So I'm going to very carefully put the glue. We're definitely doing one stepper tonight, not both. That's okay. And we're going to take some screws out, and then we're going to mount the board. The board said to mount it with the shims, which is cool. So we have the shims here, and we need to put 2 shims under each mounting point. So we have them there. And then, yeah, we should be there. So let's do this. Now, when you take these screws out, you want to be careful that you don't actually, one, disturb the very carefully placed magnet, because that would be bad. And 2, actually disassemble your stepper motor. You don't want to pull the casing off of it if you can help it. They are aligned by electromagnets, and there is actually earth magnets in them as well to help this alignment. And if you manage to pop the casing off, you could like wreck everything, and then you'll just be sad and wonder why you're doing this. But yeah, here we go. Let's see if I got them loose enough. I'm going to I'm holding the bottom of the motor now, so hopefully it doesn't fall over. Yep, we got it. So I'm just going to leave one loosely in there for now, and you will see the method to my madness in a second. So we want to get the new screws in. So it's saying the new screws are slightly, so here's an old screw there, here's a new screw there. So it's just warning us that the old screws might not be long enough and that we should use the new ones. And we're going to need 2.8 millimeters of spacers. So we're going to throw this corner on first, and what you're going to do is you're going to line the red stepper motor plug up with your stepper motor. So here's my stepper motor plug, and there's the other stepper motor plug there. And I'm just going to slide one screw through this whole thing. So in theory, like that. So like, to me, this screw is like overtly long. And I'm just going to look underneath. I think it might actually come out the other side, which means you could use it to attach itself to the frame again, which is fine if that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. So I'm just going to do one screw and just see if that's the case. Let's do it. So just curious, I think we got a few people here, and thanks for coming, but has anybody else gone down the closed looper stepper driver yet? Just curious. Yeah, so the screw is long enough to come right out the other side, and if I was a betting person, it looks like that screw will thread into the frame. So I think we can actually use those screws. So now that I have this screw loosely in, I'm going to take this one right out as well. And then we'll have 4 old screws that are kind of shorter. And then what we'll do is we'll put the next corner in. Maybe. We'll see how it works out. I'm actually going to loosen this one off just a bit. So again, you don't want to, there, that should do it. You don't want to pop your motor apart, but you do need a little bit of working room. So what I'm going to do, just so you can see, because I know it's going to be unseeable, it's going to pop some of these washers underneath here, thusly. Right, and then I'll work them back to the corner, and then we'll get the screws in. So that's what we're working on now. Yay! Yeah, so like, if you guys, like, how many people in the chat right now, too, just curiosity, run like a Core XY machine? So do you guys run, anybody in chat running Core XY? I know Greg is very close to running Core XY, and I think I'm going to invite him over to my garage here soon so we can socially distant outside print some ABS parts. Soon. Yes, very soon. We'll get those parts going. Yeah, because you guys know, it's no secret, Greg is building a Voron. That's the one. Okay, now this is, I gotta lift up and over, then down, and then we'll try to work on our screw. Too chunky. Yeah, so you got, I honestly see the biggest application of these steppers, honestly, to Core XY. The speed that you can reliably print at on an ender will go up with these steppers. I have no doubt on that. I mean, we're just installing them, so there's that. But I have no doubt that these steppers will increase speed. But on a Core XY, I have an SX4, so it's very similar to yours, Vince, and actually, our friend Vince has a Tronxy XS5 as well, and I can for sure. Oh man, I got a little super glue on my fingers. Oh no. Well, it's not a live stream till you glue yourself together. On a Core XY, they have the proclivity to drift a little bit. And if you have one, you know what I'm talking about. And I came home to actually a failed print tonight that pulled the BL Touch off of my Core XY completely. The pin was sitting somewhere, shall we say. And yeah, the sock was ripped right off of it. And I have a feeling if I had a closed loop stepper to give feedback that it knew it was actually going too far. Yeah. So you paid $249 for two of them, Vince? Oh, Vince, when you come up to Canada, you should totally bring some Aquanet and drop it by my house. Greg and I would love you forever. Of course, I am joking. Aquanet is neither required nor. So I've got all the spacers in. Now I'm just kind of doing this up because I'm going to have to do the final tighten on the printer because these actually go all the way through. So if you look from the side, you can see that they're actually coming out on the other end here. So I'm just going to get it right now so that they're just kind of started. So I'm just going to back the other ones off. Now the reason I'm just leaving them kind of started because if you're following along, the screw goes all the way through, the motor won't fall apart, and we are happy campers. So I see actually quite a few Tronxies go through the Amazon warehouse deals. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so that's good. Now there's some other parts that go on, and like I mentioned, I'll show this quick. This one's really easy, and it doesn't really get in the way right now, so I'm a happy camper doing it. So we want to make this connection here. So this is going to plug into the board, and the board one is a 4-wire connector. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that just flips right down to your other stepper driver and plugs in. Now the fun part here, and I just noticed it, is why would they do this, guys? I hate this. If you actually turn it up and plug it in, look. The keyed part is facing So you actually have to twist and plug it in. So like, I know that's a minor pet peeve thing, but you could have totally made your cable not twist. Nanopolymer is my go-to. Yeah, I've heard good things about nanopolymer, but honestly, Those screws are for 42, but I'm going to use them because I am like 92% sure that I can actually fix this motor back to the frame with them. So, hey Ben, I hope everything's doing okay for you down there, friend. I'm sorry you're having a rough time. So, but yeah, you are right. It's you can use those longer screws on the 42, but I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna use them to attach them to my frame. Maybe. Let's see how this works out. So that's that motor. I'm gonna put the cap back on the glue. I'm gonna look underneath to make sure I don't see a friggin' magnet stuck to the top of the board, which I do not. So that is good. So it's a pulse encoder basically, and it's reading that turn. Yeah, man. I mean, I wish there was something that we could do for you. I'm geographically too far, friend. Just a little too far, but you hang in. All right. And so that'll plug in. Now this one here, this one goes back to the board and it plugs into that one once it's plugged into your board. So I'm going to pop out a 2208 and install this stepper here. Well, there's two reasons why, Ben. One is somebody asked us to, and I like a challenge, so I said yes, of course. And the other reason is we're just trying to see what the reliability speed increase is. Just so you guys know, and I'm just gonna throw it out there while we're doing this too, but these I actually see like a bigger use for the closed loop steppers inside of like CNC milling than some of the 3D printing stuff too. So that monitor actually goes into the other pins here. On the other side, there's that connector. There's only one way they can go. So now that my screws are in, I'll probably take this long one off, honestly. Let's just pop that out. And then we'll put it back in a minute. I might regret it, probably, but that's okay. I'm not super keen because this monitor literally, it's just floating. There's no standoffs. Like there's screw leads for it, but there's actually nothing in the kit to mount this better than this. And let me show you something interesting. Have you guys? So I'll throw this question out here. Have you guys ever thrown a charged capacitor at your friend? Anybody in the room? Has anybody ever thrown a charged capacitor at your friend? I mean, I guess you wouldn't be much of a friend, but no. Greg says no. So I'm gonna take it that you don't know what happens when you throw a charged capacitor at a friend. Oh, Ben has. So like looking at this board and in this specific angle, can you tell me exactly what's about to happen when I go to touch the screen to set it? Greg, Ben, Greg, Gary, Vince. And don't do it to me. Oh, this is pretty sweet. It's like a loud bang and a little So watch here. I'm just going to do it right now. I'm going to touch the screen. Did you just see that? Or okay, here. I'm gonna hold this down a little better, and I'm holding the screen where it should be, and it literally wants to settle onto that capacitor. I'm touching it wrong, Greg. So guys, I'm just gonna go closer here. The second I touch the screen, it lays down on top of that capacitor. And fun fact is that the metal strip there on the PCB that keeps the screw that should go in from actually touching stuff, it goes all the way through. So yeah, we're gonna have to put some tape on that corner before we actually use this. So Let's just take that screen out. We'll put it over here again. There, see? There's nothing safer than a screen phone. So we've got this. We just got to get back on the printer now. I'm just going to switch here, guys, to this one. So we got the magnet. We got the screws. Got the standoffs. And yeah, look at that screen. I'm just looking. I wanted to see. And they have it there. To the best of my knowledge and from what I can see, it definitely looks like that screen. Like, am I reading this wrong, y'all? If I'm reading it wrong, let me know. But that screen just floats. So, yeah, we're gonna grab the electrical tape from behind me here. So let us, I'm gonna put this up here again. I'm gonna grab the printer and we are gonna get boogieing and get this motor back on the printer at the very least. So interestingly enough, I'm just gonna go back to, oh no, not that one, this one. Interestingly enough, the screen is if you want to set the microstep interpolation and stuff. So it really depends on what you're after. If you want more microstepping out of it and that kind of stuff. The actual printer itself, when you plug the steppers into the printer and use it, all else fails, use Velcro. Oh my, I have Velcro. I might do that. That's a great idea, Ben. Thank you. If all else fails though, use Velcro. Keeping that one. So the printer, when you're configuring your board, the SKR 1.3 or any actual board you want to use with this, it actually says in the instructions here, if I remember correctly, to set your stepper drivers to 2209s. So just let me show ya. Let me transition to the screen share. Now I'm not doing a full not doing like a full out firmware tonight. Once I get the stepper back on the printer, I might run it to the board and that's about it. But they do show you some good stuff with Marlin, and yeah, see here, enable the 2209 in UART, and that's how you actually enable them. And they are, I forget the name on the, I'd have to look at the other one, but it's an A495, I think. So here in Texas, the staples are bale wiring, yeah, agreed, duct tape, yeah, and Velcro. See, Velcro up here is just not a staple. Like VHB, that's a staple for me. I use it all the time. If it's good enough to stick a solar panel to a trailer, it's good enough for me to use. So I'm gonna grab the printer here. Let's get back to the build scene and grab the printer. And see what angle we can get on that. Sorry. It's my bad. The mic is a little jingly. So again, I took the belt off, so this should go on relatively easy. Now you want to remember that your stepper motor here, you want to kind of the path of least resistance, and for my money that's this. Okay, and I do believe that's kind of what they have in the instructions as well. So I'm going to back out these screws here. I'm just going to turn it maybe so we can see again. Let's see here. See if we can get you a better view. I'll get it. I'll make you sick while I get it, but we'll get it. Yeah. There it is. So does my hand fit under here? Oh, it almost does. Bummer. Okay, so, oh no, I'm sorry guys. I'm sorry. Wait, I saw, is that a joke in chat I saw? What do you call that? Yeah, I know. Wait, what? That's okay. It's not bad. It's okay. I like it. So we're gonna get that top screw in here first. Oh man, I'll just take out the camera again, guys. Let's go from this way. See if we can get you in that way. This is the worst tripod on the planet, and I apologize. I should have just used my build setup. I have like 2 inches from me on the other desk here. So I'm just gonna see if this actually screws in. If it doesn't, we'll have to mount in the other way. Let's see. Yeah. No, not long enough. Un momento, por favor. So just, I'm gonna switch these long screws. So 1 second, please. Here, let me switch so we can all see and have fun and enjoy the switching process. Hello? Hello. That one's not gonna do it. 1 sec. Let's see here. I got other stuff, don't worry. That'll do it. There it is, guys. There it is. The cinematics genius. Yes, I know, right? Like, generally speaking, I'm actually pretty set up. Actually, for all of this stuff. But Greg and I recently did a workshop that was roughly 30 people there. And it destroyed everything that I hold dear cinematically wise. All right. It makes the stream interesting. I know. I put my other gooder's not a word. Put my better tripod out on the printer in the garage that's currently going to be doing the ABS for Greg's Voron because it's more stable and it won't fall over. And yeah, so that's the reason for it out there. I don't know, is this grabbing? Oh, that's brilliant. Does that even grab? Okay guys, this just got interesting. So they say use these longer screws, but the longer screws might be too long. Let's try again. We're doing this. I just spent 3 hours watching Nero not installing. So he didn't have any luck installing it, Ben, is what you're saying? It never did work? Wondering if PLA Plus is stronger than ABS. So Vince, maybe. The answer is maybe, because some PLA Plus, the plus actually means ABS. So if you're getting a PLA Plus and the additive to make it a plus is ABS, then I would just print ABS. But I do have experience with Performance Plus and HT PLA, and I want to say that ABS is probably the strongest. Like if you were like picking and you had to pick one and you needed it to be strong, ABS is the strongest. It's just that it's probably the like least convenient. Let's say least convenient. So ABS would be the least convenient to print at home or in an environment. You just need an enclosure. Yeah, I haven't watched Neuro for a while. I like them. I just haven't watched them for a bit, and it's one of those things. I only have so much in a week, and I just can't commit to all of them, right? Yeah, I watch some of them for comedy. I think you know which one I mean, Ben. The comedy one. So they send the NEMA 42, and they do send a slightly shorter, longer screw, but they're not labeled and they look exactly the same unless you're really careful. So yeah, eSun. So Ben, eSun ABS Plus is very good. I agree with you for sure. And that happens to be what we are printing the Voron parts in. Is eSun ABS Plus. I think we showed that off last week, and partly because they had the colors Greg wanted. So yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, this is better. These are better. Yay. So I saw, Ben, on through the grapevine that you got that beast of a printer up for your wife, Christy. There, you got the Ender 3mm going. It's a good mod if you because 3mm filament is one of that stuff. It's technically 2.85, so if you guys are like, hey, that's not 3mm, it's okay. Yeah, okay, 2.85, but they call it 3. And yeah, it's generally cheap. Generally. Sorry, I'm trying to watch comments and do this last one up here. Hope I switched it. I can't remember if I did now. Oh well, we'll find out in a second. I got some eSun ABS Plus in black and Paramount 3D in red. No, I didn't switch it. Dang it. Paramount. That's a brand I actually haven't had too much experience in. The eSun, I've done lots of eSun stuff. They're both their PLA and their ABS now. I like eSun. Some people make fun of it. A fun fact, and people always blame manufacturers for this too. You know, you'll see it on forums all the time where it's like, man, I bought this filament from blankety blank and it came all tangled, blankety blank blank blank. If you think about the way filament is manufactured, that's probably like the hardest thing on the planet for a manufacturer to actually do is send you tangled filament. It's usually people letting go. So like when it comes to filament, I don't really judge the tangledness as a factor to actually, you know, draw me towards or away from it. So just a fun fact from your pal, David. It's pretty great. Yeah, that Titan looked really good on there, man. You did a great job. If you guys haven't seen it, I reposted it. I reposted that to our Facebook page. I think, yep, because that was last week, right, Ben? If I remember. If I remember. Okay, let's transition back to this build cam. Build. Transition. And yeah. So we got everything on with the board here. I'm just literally attaching it back to the printer now on the other side. So once I remember where I put the freaking screwdriver down. Well, that's embarrassing. I wish you guys were watching where I put my screwdriver. There it is. The Kata rule: never let the end of the right. How many people have like just, you know, oh, I'm just gonna let this go. Even my wife, like now, she knows the cardinal rule is don't let go. As soon as that filament comes out of the printer, you hold on to it. So here's an interesting one for you guys. This isn't gonna work either. Let me explain what happened now, and this might be a problem to end on at least this portion of the eve. I'm gonna put these screws in though, so I don't lose them. Here, let me get. I'm gonna flip up to my complain cam. All right, complain cam engage. So what happens when you put a screw through a NEMA motor? And I'm sure lots of you know the answer, and maybe some of you don't. So I'm going to tell you that the screw goes through the NEMA motor. Right? Makes sense? Just it goes right through the motor. That's what it does. And what happens when that screw is too long? And I already showed you once. It goes through the motor, and I was hoping to use that to my advantage, and actually, oops, sorry guys, I making loud noises here. I was hoping to use that to my advantage, and actually back mount the motor with a little washer. However, hold on one second. I need a better view. There we go. However, fate, friend says it would have it, has different plans for me, and these screws, even though I changed them to the ones that should work with this kit now, and I am not shocked in the slightest, do not work. They are too long. Christy is upset with you, David. Oh. I apologize profusely to both of you. Honestly, I don't know if you remember last year, Ben. It was longer. This is after a haircut. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna back off the screw maybe to try to fix it a little bit, but we're gonna have to come up with a permanent solution to continue on in the install process of these closed loop steppers. So I'm just gonna show you quick. Okay, so this is the back of the printer, and it probably looks okay in the video. I would probably say it looks fine in the video. However, allow me to show you the problem. The screws that came with the kit that were the shorter ones that we were to use with the exact 2.8 millimeter washers are actually too long. So there's a few options here. One involves more spacers on the top. So, sorry, I'm going to disappear a bit. I can shim the top more, right? And that's what Ben says. Put a nut on it. However, I think I'm more. I might no. I'll give everybody votes, but maybe Ben, Vince, if Greg's still around, I might just take it to the angle grinder and take like 1/8 of a millimeter off of that thing, and then the screw will be the right size, in theory, and I can actually like get it in, cause yeah, like these are far off. Like I'm just trying to see how much or how too long is too long. There, so we finally have caption on that one. So we got about 1/2 millimeter. Oh, I have a screw cutter too. And I probably actually, legitimately guys, I probably have a screw that would fit that hole. But like, I mean, right now, I mean, I like to cut and grind and it makes me happy inside. So I'm just going to back these out and see what happens here. How wobbly that other one gets too. I'm not endorsing, to be clear, I'm not endorsing like leaving it off kilter in any respect of the matter. You should use the proper length screws, which are apparently 1/2 millimeter shorter than what the screws they give you are in the kit, which is fun, I think. Yeah, I'm having fun. Just back back this one out again. And bring this forward. Okay. Okay, let's see. Use a thicker aluminum bracket. You could, but the problem is you need the, yeah, see, it's just a little wobbly now. So I could probably print like a proper spacer. That might be the easiest. The reason that you really can't, in theory anyway, change that bracket size too much is because that bracket is directly related to the position of the belt at the front of the printer. So you could go thicker on the one side, cut the screws down. Yeah, and I honestly think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna cut the screws down. Now that they're in though, I'll probably just do them one at a time, cut them down, make it easy on myself. So, if we are counting the stepper motors on the closed loop stepper, the red part, let's see if I just turn this a bit. Yep. So the closed loop stepper has the red plug at the bottom now. That red plug, literally, this is the crappy part, has to go into this box right here. And it'll go through the same hole over here to get into the box. So it's a really long cable for like 1.5 inches of travel. The other thing that we have to take off is this guy. So, yeah, let's do that. Good, it's off, it's on the floor. And then we get to put this other one on. Maybe. I don't know. There's a reason why those are big. And this is where my lack of coordination shows. But since we're looking, I wanna see if we can get that camera focused again. Focus. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. Well, I mean, sure, that's close to where it was, maybe. Who knows, right? So we do have to fix this before we can actually finish. So I have the, I can put the screen on, I guess, for safekeeping. So we'll do that. So here's where the screen goes. This is where the screen goes, right here. Boom. Oddly enough, when you're not like flat, but I'm still going to put a piece of electrical tape around that corner there. But let's see here. If I turn the printer thusly, and then if I turn the camera thusly, you can see exactly how it sits. So the only real thing left to do here is focus the camera a bit. There we go. And we just need to make sure that this red stepper one now is going to actually plug into the ribbon cable they give you, and it is keyed. And since it's Y, that's going to plug into the Y stepper. So that's kind of that's the next steps. But since I got to cut screws down and stuff, I'm going to worry about that before I actually worry about hooking all those wires up, because I have to probably take everything off at least or something. Put a nut before cutting, so if you can thread it when you remove the nut. Yeah, that's true too. Maybe I'll just like they say it's 2.8 millimeters, and I'm literally what are we bouncing here? Yeah, like if I printed one that was well, they say they were 1.4 each to make 2.8. So if I printed one at 1.6 doing math, that would make it an even 3 and probably fit just fine. So maybe I will print a 0.3 spacer in the likes of those screws there. So yeah, I think that's probably what we'll do. Let me get this thing off the desk here, guys, and then we will we'll get on. Get on. You just need to go into the housing. Huh? Oh, you mean like the thread just needs to bite the housing? Yes. So like the only, like, you don't want to make that on this one specifically. On the Y, they're already warning you that you had to change the back wheel nut, so you don't want to like over make the nut. So even if I made it 1.7 and made the whole thing 3.1 gap, I think that would suffice to take up the rest of the screw that's not bit, and still leave enough travel space for the Y wheel nut to pass it there. So like I just want to show the screen capture here, just to show you actually how easy this is. You guys have seen this before from me, but I just want to really quickly show you because I can. Let us go into this one here, and the Cinematic Genius now actually has the right scenes. Yay! So we have some instructions. Now it's important to note that these instructions here are just make them a little bigger right there. Okay. So this is the manual for the steppers, which you do not get a copy of. You have to go to the GitHub. So this is on the S42B GitHub. These are for the version 1, but it's the same instructions, everybody. And this is kind of where we're gonna jump off. So there's two sections inside of the programming part for this, and they actually show you what you need to do. So to actually program the board itself, you do need to hook it up to the proper pins, and it gives you all of this information here. This is just a USB programmer they got there. Fun fact is you could use the ISP programmer on your board for one, your Raspberry Pi. You don't need to run out and buy like an Arduino or another USB programmer, although Greg and I have all of those things. So we'll see what we end up doing in our video. What do you guys think we're going to do? How are we going to connect to this thing to update the firmware? Place your bets. So the first thing that you notice here is they change a few things in the serial port, but they don't. This is actually the same configuration. They're using the E3 dip. I'm using, and the reason I say it doesn't change for me is because I have the 1.3, but they're just using the E3 as an example because I chose on the GitHub. Just let me do this, and I'll do this, and I will show you. So on the GitHub, I actually chose the Ender one. So there's an Ender 3, and then there's a motor mount, and then there's, there's pinouts for it, all sorts of information. But I chose the Ender 3, and that's what got to this document. The only literal got you is if you are not using, the 2209 driver already, you need to get into the 2209 driver and then set the subdivision. So you would have to actually set your steps here, and they give you an idea of what they should be for an Ender. And then this is an interesting one. I'd have to double check my current config, which I have not yet, but you gotta make sure your steppers are going or which way they're going. Yeah, I'll have, once I boot it up, I'll have to see what firmware is on those boards before we play with them. But I'm not going to even do that tonight because I I want them to be firmly attached to the printer before I start hooking stuff up and playing with them. So Ben, that is a good question. Hold on, I have another one here. In a box here. So just give me 1 second. I want to read the model number again. I think it does. But I have another one here because it's actually what are those? Tigra or Allegra drivers? Yeah, that's the one. 1 second. Focus. A495T. So it's an A495T. So they're silent drivers. They do, you can actually buy them as like dip drivers too if you wanted to, but they're a silent driver. And yeah, they're telling you literally in this document, up, wherever, we just passed it. But yeah, they're right there. To use the 2209, make sure to set 2209. So they must emulate the 2209. And I think also the interesting thing is you can set the stepper interpolation on that screen. So even though you don't really need to use it, it's probably going to sit there most of the time never being used, you can actually use it for something. So again, you want to make sure, like, and some of this stuff they're just telling you for ender purposes too in this example. So if you already have a good ender config, you don't need to worry about that. But the big thing is just make sure you set those drivers to 2209 before you get going, and it should be ready to roll. From Calgary, we are 189 kilometers. So like driving time, if you go the speed limit in Canada, 2 hours. If you drive as most Southern Albertans drive, it's like an hour and a half. But yeah, we're not too far from Calgary. In fact, when there's not a pandemic, we do spend lots of our Fridays and Saturdays up in Calgary. So, but yeah, I don't know. Right now, it's we're back locked down again. The fourth time now, so we get to stay at home. Oh, cool. Yeah, we're not far at all. In fact, we're actually like, we're pretty much Montana. We're closer to the Montana border crossing than we are Calgary. We're like 45 minutes from the border, from where we are. So we are really close to the biggest center we're close to is probably Great Falls. But yeah, we're right by the border there. To get to Vegas for Greg and I, it takes 3 hours. You drive from, or I guess 4 hours, because you drive from here to Great Falls and then you fly to Vegas. So, thank you all for coming around. I hope that the audio is good and acceptable. I'm going to listen back to it just to make sure the levels are good and that everything was happy. If you don't know, I got some new audio stuff, so we just wanted to make sure it's set up right. And yeah, we will I'm gonna let you all go. So oh yeah, definitely cheaper that way, Ben. But anyway, thank you for coming, Gary, Ben, and Vince, and Greg. It was really good to see everybody tonight, and thank you for testing the mic. Thank you for hanging out while we tried to put a stepper driver on when they sent the wrong screws. And yeah, we'll be around tomorrow morning. So 10 a.m. our time. We will see you tomorrow morning. Have a good night.